Hi, this is Erin from BlossyB. Welcome to my channel. The plan for this video is to continue exploring the moulds from the Resin Mold Box August 2026 collection, The Secret Treehouse Club. If you haven't yet watched part 1, I will link it in the description box. You won't want to miss seeing all of the unique moulds as I unbox them. Plus, you can see the pieces I've made so far using epoxy resin. In this video, I'm going to be working with an eco casting powder, just something a little bit different using these moulds. I hope you enjoy it. I was just working out how much I need for each of the moulds, and I noticed that the Lily Grove relief jar has an error. So it says that the mould volume is approximately 175 mils, but then it goes and gives 80 mils for the lid and 115 for the pot, and those two add up to considerably more than 175. I was just measuring it myself, and I thought I should show you. I know I've done it many times, but sometimes you might be new to this, so I'm going to show you how to work it out. So take your scales and then just place a container on them that will be able to hold your moulds. Make sure it's on milliliters, or if you use the old-fashioned ones, the fluid ounces. And then I'm going to press 0, and that takes it back, it tears it back. So we'll do the little lid first, so 0 it back again. And I'm just going to pour water in until it starts creeping up over the edge. So that's 63, and they've given us 80. So I think I'm going to quite happily put that down as, I'll put it down as 65. Then I'm just going to tip that out, and then I'm going to empty that back into my water container, and then I'm going to pop the jar in, 0 that back, so it's on 0, and do exactly the same. Just going to get right up to the point where it's about to overflow, which it just did, and that was 110. So instead of 80, I've got 65, and instead of 115, I've got 110, and so that gives us a total of 175 mils, which is exactly what they had there. So they just had some errors in the individual pieces. So that's a nice easy way to check. And then to convert this into an eco casting powder, mine is a 3:1 ratio. So 1 part water to 3 parts powder. And to get that, I multiply by 1.9. And then whatever number I get, I divide that by 4, and then round it up slightly to get my 4 parts. I'm going to be making the 3 lidded jars or pots today. So the first one is the Mushroom Nook Squirrel Jar. Then we've got the Mountain Hideaway storage box. And then we've got the Lily Grove relief jar. Now, the Mushroom Nook Squirrel Jar, I'm going to try and do in a fairly traditional red, like a darker red, and I'm going to try and do a cream coloured base. I've measured out all of my powders just to help expedite things, and for the mushroom I have measured out my water. So I'm using the Solid Solutions liquid pigment. This is a water-based, very concentrated pigment. Just going to give it a really good shake. And when I'm using liquid pigments, I like to, oh, just saw something go in there. I like to add them to the water, and then powder ones I add to powder. Alright, I'll give that a stir. And then I'm just going to set that to the side for a minute. This is the water for the base, the pot. So I'm just going to add a little bit of, oh, I better give it a shake. This one is the brown. Always hard to know how much to add. I think that should be fine. Might just add one absolutely tiny, oh, shaking Erin. One drop of yellow. Okay, we'll set those there. Then the next one that I need to tint is the mountain, this one. There we go. So I need 205 grams of water. Okay, so I'll give this one a stir. Let's have a look. That's gorgeous, isn't it? It's hard to know how pale that's going to be. And I've got to be careful that I don't mix too much, otherwise it can actually just interfere with the curing of the eco casting powder. Alright, the red's looking pretty good. I'm regretting putting the yellow in here. So I think I'm just going to put a couple of drops of white in there. And that should be fine. All right, let's get our moulds ready. So the lily one is a lot of powder. Sorry, the mountain one. It's this and this together. So I may have to darken it. We'll just see. might need to swap stirrers because I do need to get all the way down with that. I'm just really double checking that all of the white powder is coated in the colour, and I'm looking through the sides and I'm just making sure I mix around the bottom. Okay. That is so pretty. Let's give it another little stir. Perfect. Okay, I've got a little bit left over. I'm unprepared with extras. I'll just grab something. Here we go. Okay, I'm wondering, I should go up and under those. Okay, and then before this sets, another little stir. Done. So I'll do the lid. So we've got our tinted water here, and we've got our powder here for mushroom lid. Okay, so it's staying a very bright colour so far. Just going to get rid of that stirring stick because it had some white on it, and I'm just going to really carefully go around, make sure I haven't got any lumps at the bottom. Right, here we go. Oh dear, it's one of these. Now, how can I tell There. That was a classic way to see how difficult these can be with air bubbles. I think I can see a little chain of bubbles around the edge there, but I doubt that I'm going to be able to get them out. Put a little bit more in. A bubble there. I feel like this is an impossible task for me. I just do not ever go well with these sorts of lids. Now, even though there's not enough for one of these, I'm still going to pour it in, because if I need to repair it, I might need to have some of the same coloured powder. Dear oh dear, who knows? Now, I'm definitely feeling like this is a more yellowy colour than I want. And now I've probably made it much darker. Anyway, all right, so the mushroom pot. Uh-oh. Guess what's happened? myself about that. Okay, I've reset everything and now we're going to mix this, and I'm aiming for a pistachio green. I don't know how close I'll get to it. I haven't made that colour before, but I'm going to give it a go. So I'm going to start off by using seaweed green. This is one of the Solid Solutions Pearl Pigments mica powders. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. I'm just going to stir that through. Okay, and now I'm going to add in some daffodil yellow. That didn't really change it a lot, did it? And lastly, I'm going to see if this green gold adds anything. All right, let's see what we've ended up with. Just going to tilt this around a little bit, just in the hope I can get all of that beautiful detail. Okay. I wonder how problematic this lid, not lid, top of the jar is going to be, or base of the jar. Looks okay. Pour the extras in. It's actually a really pretty, like, home decor cream, you know, with your, for paint or something. All right, in about an hour, we'll be able to demold. This one's hot cured, yep. So just got to wait for this one. Let's have a look. So I did have a tiny little bit of the green left over, which I popped into these two little heart shapes. And then of course I've got all of the discs, and they just look great and they'll come in handy for something. Now let's see what the turquoise blue lid looks like. And I love one side and I don't love the other. Can you guess? The mountain sort of detail, just not my thing, but the little bit I saw of the other side was quite intriguing. I am so excited to see how the base looks now. The colour is just beautiful. It's very heavily pigmented, which is what I was going for. And it is perfect. Oh, I just pointed out there was one tiny little air bubble there, but overall, just beautiful. It's a really substantial base as well. So that one's done. Let's have a look at the next. I do not have high hopes for this. I have low hopes. But we can only see it's just getting the air out of the edges of lids. It seems to be something I'm just not good at. But look at this. Almost perfect. Just one little piece there, and that's super easy to sand. And I'm loving the colour. It's exactly what I was going for. So now I'm going to have a look at the mushroom pot base. These have all been fairly easy to demould so far, by the way. This one just popped out and it's lovely. I'm really happy with the colour that I was able to achieve. I like the fact that there is some variance in the colour, which makes it look a bit more natural, and the little squirrel is super cute. So yay for that one. Time to have a look at this beautiful lily jar and lid, and I am loving the lid. It is such a pretty colour. It isn't pistachio. I'm not quite sure what I would call it. It's perhaps sage green would be better. Sorry, just having a little admire of how the lid fit onto the mushroom. And time to have a look at the pot. And of course I am really hoping that the lily detail has come out. Now just look at the difference in this finish to the other two pieces. This is mica powder. This has a beautiful luster, just a gentle shimmer to it, and it's just, it is beautiful. The other two with the liquid pigment is more of a flat finish, which of course can be improved by the sealing, but it's just worth pointing out that the mica powder for colouring can give you just that extra lovely dimension of a beautiful sheen. The lid fits perfectly, the lily looks great, and it's just a beautiful jar. I'd highly recommend that mould. Okay, everything is fully cured and I am just loving them. This lily jar is just so beautiful. Just love it. So all I'm going to do with this is seal it. The Squirrel Mushroom Jar, again, looks fantastic. What I'm going to do is grab some white acrylic paint and just try and dot on some dots, and I might also try and darken, actually probably darken the little cutout behind him. So I'll do that. And then this one is, look, this is a tricky one because how are you meant to get this open? And that's just not my thing. But that is. So I was thinking, what could I use as a handle? And I'll show you some of the things I was considering. I just went and raided my old jewellery box. This, which is a bead, interestingly, which I would have painted, and I would have had to repair the holes, but that could have been good. That, which the contrast is amazing, but again, it's a bead, so it's got the holes in either end. I was thinking about using a little stone, or I found this, thought I could paint that probably white, and that would be good as well. But I also got to thinking that I've got these discs, and that really interests me. There's something sort of maybe Japanese about that, and so now I'm looking at it thinking, I think I'm going to try, I think I can laser engrave this, and I might laser engrave it, try and find a pattern which is like the Japanese waves. I think it's a Seigara pattern. Okay, I've set that up on my laser engraver, and while that is working, I'm going to start on the dots for the mushroom, and I'm just using some white acrylic paint, and I'm going to use the end of a paintbrush as my dotting tool, and all I'm going to do is just pick up some paint on the end. Now the actual lid has got some indentations in it, and I will try and put it in those, but they're not that clear, so I'll get it in the ones I can definitely see, and then I might just have to sort of make the rest up as I go along. And once that's done, I'm just going to sit that to the side to dry. I can see a couple of little holes in there that I wasn't able to do anything with when sanding, because the trouble is when you're sanding and you want to try sanding a hole, you might expose more holes, and you don't know how deep the current ones are. And so I might try some of this, if I can get it open. Oh no, there we go. Okay, so it's Earl's Natural Timbermate Wood Filler, no shrinking, non-acrylic, water-based. So if I don't like it, I should be able to wash it off. And that's what it looks like. I'm just going to get a teeny tiny little tool to apply it. This could be a little bit too teeny tiny, but who knows. Okay. Looking okay. Okay, that's looking good. So I will let that dry. So I've ended up making the piece. I've just cleared the workspace. It was feeling a bit overwhelming. and I'm not in love with it. So very late last night, I took the little flower and I used the same ink that I used to tint this and popped it on there. Oh, I also used a white marker first, and I think that that's going to look really lovely, and it'll give you something to hold on to. Now, the little back area of the squirrel, this is what it's looking like now. Very neat. And I've got my watercolor paints here, and I'm going to try and mix up sort of a light brown. Just give them a squirt. And then I'm just going to use a little paintbrush and paint that little background. And I'm just going to dip my brush in and then dab off most of it just for my first little look. Yep, I think that will be good. See if I can use a brush tip. This is just a fairly cheap brand of brush tip markers for a watercolor effect. And I just want to see if I can go around this edge here. Okay, pretty happy with that. Now I need to give him a little black eye, not like punch. And I'm just going to use an alcohol marker for this, and this has got a fine tip. And hopefully it won't just spread. Joey's little claws. I feel like he sort of needs a mouth, but I don't really know how that would go, so I think he's got whiskers there. Okay, I'm not going to do any more because that is not a good path for me to go down. All right, now while I've got the watercolour out, I'm going to make a very light brown wash. Let's grab some of all of these over into here. I want it quite watery, and I'm just going to try and follow some of these little bit of indented shadows down. Okay, and done. All right, I will let that dry, and I'll now start working on this lid. Okay, so I've got some 5-minute epoxy. I think it's called 5-minute epoxy. And I haven't used this one before, so I need to follow the instructions. But the first thing I'm going to do is, I'll just get a piece of paper towel. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scratch up the surface of this little flower. It's already fairly rough, but I want to make sure that I'm giving the glue the biggest surface area possible to adhere. And then with this, I'm just going to eyeball what I think the centre is. And that'll give it a better chance of adhering. Okay, and I'll pop the lid back on that. Mix them together. Okay, and then put on both parts. So okay. Tissues and cotton buds. Okay, I'm just going to move it directly sort of under me for a moment. Okay, well, I'm going to let that do its thing. And now I'm going to put a very small coat of polyurethane varnish around this little fella. Okay, so I'm going to be using the Solid Solutions Professional Mediums range of polyurethane gloss varnish. It's a finishing varnish, and I'm just going to pop some into a little cup and get started. Oh, there's a little squirrel himself. Gosh, I hope this does not smudge. I think he looks cute. And just thinking about this. Do I do a coat of polyurethane over? Yes. That is looking super pretty. Okay, while that is drying, that's drying, and that's drying. I've got all the dryings. I'll show you what I did with the resin extras from the previous episode. So I've applied a UV decal, a UV DTF decal, and I've got a lovely clear resin dome over the top. So they are ready for magnets. And I wanted to show you how I finished the Hello Kitties off. So I'll put them there and I'll set them out in a moment. So I've used some of these lure eyes. So these are typically used for fishing lures. It's the smallest size. And I have these in bulk in all sizes. So I thought I'd trial them. So I've super glued them into the little eye holes, as well as the little matching colour rhinestone for each. And then I've popped a drop of super glue in on the top. So we've got the green with the green rhinestones, this darker green with the darker green rhinestones. Oops. This one with the lime green rhinestones, and then the four ones I've done exactly the same, but I've also added a little flower, and I think they look quite cute. So we've got blue, yellow, pink and purple. I was going to work on this today, but my friend who would like this for her sister, I don't know yet what she would like on it, so that will be a future project. But it would be very easy to put some UV DTF decals on here, to paint on here, and then just put a little plant in. Alright, I'm going to come back in a little while and then finish sealing all of these pieces. And yeah, I'm very happy with them. Time for the final finishes. I'm going to be using Gillies Liquid Beeswax. It's a wax that I purchased from Bunnings in Australia, and it is just such a beautiful product to work with. I particularly like it because it is a liquid that I can use a brush with, and I've been trialing using the same brush, not washing it afterwards, and just wrapping it in plastic wrap, and that seems to be going really well. So I'll just use a little bit inside the pot first, and then make sure all of the inside is coated. I will go into fast forward for this because it's the same process over and over, but I just go all around and give it a nice coat, and exactly the same with all of the other pieces, and it goes on so beautifully, and it will slightly darken your colours in eco casting powder, and it will leave a really lovely gentle sheen. There's lots of different options for sealing, but this is my preferred at the moment. After they're done, I leave them to sit for a while, and then I come back with a soft microfiber cloth and I just buff them. And that last step is just to make sure there's no excess wax left on them, and it's a final check over of each piece, and they are really looking good. I always feel like this liquid beeswax sort of nourishes the eco casting compound, the SolidCrete, and gives it such a lovely finish and shine. Well, what a treat this collection has been. If you are interested in purchasing either the entire box or any of the individual moulds, just hop on to Resin Mold Box website, and you are welcome to use my discount code to save some money. Let's check out the final pieces. Here are the little Hello Kitties that I made last week and finished off in this video. Some very cute little coffee and dog fridge magnets. Our throne piece, which will be decorated in the future. The lovely mountain storage box with a twist, I guess, with the lid flipped over. Is it still a twist or is it a flip? And then we've got the gorgeous lily jar in that beautiful sage green. And then lastly, the cutest little squirrel in a mushroom. And this little pot with a lid, I can just see being something I love working with again in the future. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate your company. I'd love to see what your thoughts are in the comments, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.